Whew, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'll take a sip of water first.
Yeah, you're going to do the same.
And doesn't really care about hungovers or whatever. I think it's a very bold person. Is it ready enough to be out there? I hope so. But I mean, if there's one place in the world that really recharges me and where I feel completely comfortable, nice, good, and where I just love everything, it's Japan.
So, Jem, thank you for joining us in the VRAI Magazine with me.
Thank you so much.
Okay, please introduce yourself and your brands.
My name is Cem Cinar. I'm from the Netherlands. My origins are Turkish, and I've been living in Paris for over 10 years. I have my own namesake brand that I'm the founder and creative director of. And at the same time, I'm creative director for the ready-to-wear at Laruicci, which is originally a New York-based label. And that's what I do. I'm a designer.
So, you have your own brand.
Yes.
So, I remember we met each other before the COVID, way before the COVID. In
Yes.
Palais de Tokyo, the first time. I always liked it, your design. So, you started your brand for when did you start your own brand?
It was actually right in the middle of COVID.
Oh, but then I saw your brand. When was that? That was not your own brand.
No, I think the time when we met each other, I was creative director for another brand, and I was actually presenting at Designers Department showroom, which was organized by the Fédération de l'Haute Couture.
Ah,
And so that project was put on a hold just before COVID.
okay.
And so
But that's when I
so
met you.
yeah, exactly. So the first time actually when we met, I was doing another brand. That was pre-Larucci.
Ah, okay, okay. So you started your own brand during the COVID.
Yes, yeah, right in the middle of COVID.
What made you inspired to start your own?
Having so much time to think about things and being able to focus on what I really want. And I think that I was ready to start writing my own story.
Mm, 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 mm.
And I felt that, I mean, obviously it's amazing to work for brands,
Mhm.
which I'm still working for a brand. And I think it's great. It's nice to be around people and to share the same vision, etc. But of course, doing something under your own name, which is so personal, is, it feels different.
Mm,
And so yeah, I felt that it was time to do it.
mm, mhm. I see. So when did the Lalucci came into your life?
It was also just right before COVID. Actually, the story behind it is that the CEO of the brand is a friend of mine since a long time.
Mhm.
Her name is Lauren, and we've shared a lot of fun moments together, and we actually collaborated already on that previous brand that I was working for on the jewelry part, because originally Larucci is a jewelry brand,
Yep.
which was established in 2009 in New York. And then so we met during some fashion weeks, and then we started hanging out, and so that's how it happened. She wanted me to do the ready to wear for her, and then we started. But right as we launched our first collection, this was January 2020.
I think I was there on the party on the boat by the Seine.
Yes, exactly. That was
Yes,
in February.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, the February. I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was
that was our main collection actually.
yes.
And so right after we our plan was like to tour around with the collection and kind of like present it and spread the news that Richie had started ready to wear. So we
Mhm.
started in Paris, then we went to New York, we did our first show there. Then we came back to Paris. We had that party where we met,
Yeah,
which was a small presentation.
yeah.
And then we went to Japan,
Mhm.
and we're just as we're doing our Japan event, everything is spreading around us.
Yep.
And then literally we did a launch party, and the next day it was lockdown
Oof.
everywhere. So yeah, both of these projects actually started for me just before or during COVID.
I see. I see. I see. So during the COVID, you kind of harnessed both of the brands.
Yes.
So how do you actually separate these two brands? Like, okay, maybe you can help me understand. So for Lalucci,
Hmm.
and who do you, what kind of person, do you describe to be wearing? And also for your own brand, who do you, because I suppose it's different kind of personality, you imagine.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the thing is like, I think if very simply described, the Laruicci person would run from office to party and back to the office. So kind of like a 72
Okay,
hour
after
raver.
party, straight to the office.
Oh yeah.
I
And
thought for
doesn't really care about hangovers or whatever. I think it's a very bold person. I think it's a person with a very strong sense of their own being, and someone that loves everything that's, around travel, not being in one place too much. And I think it's a person that yeah, it's a very bold person. I think my person would probably be the same, but also go to an art exhibition somewhere in between all of that. And then, sober or not, I don't think it would really matter.
no.
And so I think, yeah, maybe, while mine is hanging out at the gallery, the other one might still be partying or in a plane going to another party. I think it's, of course, I mean, there's bridges between the two because, it's still me, the same person that's designing for both. And so obviously you will see some overlaps here and there. And then in terms of aesthetic, there might be some elements to the designs which you can recognize. Um, but yeah, so very simply explained, I think that's those are the type of people.
So what are the rewards for having two brands?
I think it's nice to be able to explore different type of aesthetics
Mm,
because I mean, even though there might be some overlaps or things that you might see elements they might see in both of the collections, it is still in terms of final image a very different type of aesthetic, and both of those aesthetics do really fit well with what I want to show as a designer. And so I think that's amazing. But also, taking this idea and then interpreting it in different ways for both of the brands and then having a totally different outcome, I think that's the reward because no matter for which of the brands I'm designing, there's always going to be an idea that if it doesn't match with mine, it will with Larucci. So I'm still able to explore it
I see.
and vice versa. If I have an idea for Larucci, sometimes there's moments where we're like, that's not very Larucci. Maybe that's more for my brand,
Okay.
and then I'm still able to place that fun idea that I want to work on in one of the brands. And I think that yeah, I'm very lucky to be able to do that.
So, okay, question. For your own brand in Lalucci, you just show during the men's, correct? That was for
Uh,
your own brand.
no, my own brand usually shows during pre.
Ah, okay.
I mean between pre and couture season.
Okay.
And
Definitely during
Larucci
the
is
men.
women's wear is main season. I mean, when I started out, I was showing both brands in the same season, but that was just not sustainable. At some
I was
point,
gonna
I
say,
can't split myself up in three, four people, even though I would love to sometimes, but that's just not possible.
there's
So
a twin AI now. You can just
yeah. I mean, I honestly, if it gets so far that I can make use of that, I would. No problem. It will make my life so much easier. But so I had to like separate the two at some point. And so I do feel that it's giving me much more time to be able to, rethink about everything and like, collection, yeah, you have to kind of sometimes take distance and look at it. And then also there needs to be some time between two major projects because for example, shooting the lookbook for both brands and then having this pressure of having to do it in the same season, it's at some point really became like a crazy roller coaster. So yeah.
So you just saw the preseason for your own brand.
Yes. But I mean my preseason uh I consider it as pretty much my full collection. There might be a couple of pieces that I might add to it later on, but no, in terms of like the activities that I do mainly, it's focusing on pre.
Okay. So then let's talk about you just, finish your pre-collection. Tell me about the inspiration of the collection. How did you are you showing still or you finished? You
No, I'm about to
about
my showroom starts on Sunday
okay.
in
So
2 days.
in 2 days,
Yeah.
whoo, is it already ready to go?
It's about to be ready to go.
Ah, good, good.
Is it really anytime 100% ready? No.
Sure.
But is it ready enough to be out there? I hope so. I have 48 more hours, so
You have a lot to do.
I have a lot to do and a lot to think about, but I also know that at some point you have what you have and you put it there and then you hope and pray.
Okay. Well, you know what? Then tell me about the collection that you're gonna about to show. What is the inspiration for it? And if there is a key details, give me 3 points of that specific collection.
Okay, I mean the stories for my collection, honestly, they one collection to the other, it's always very complementary to each other. The story never really does a 360 twist and turn and changes because, as I mentioned, it's my personal story and so yeah, the collections evolve as much as I do as a person as well. And so my stories are usually always based around the Netherlands, the beauty of the Netherlands, which it's a country that I'm very, very into. You know, I love Amsterdam, and then so we have some tulip prints coming. We interpreted the tulips into hand crochet details, as
Ooh.
well as some accessories, which, you know, I love craftsmanship. I love handmade things. I love an artisanal touch. And and especially Turkish handcraft, which, you know, so it's kind of like this very traditional crocheting, but then interpreting elements from the Netherlands, such as tulips, and then kind of like marrying those two countries with each other, which is actually I'm a result of that too. So kind of how I'm trying to express the elements of those countries. So it's a lot about my background and about my experiences and everything else that's very close to my heart.
Okay, interesting. Okay, well then let's say move on to the Lalucci. So you
Yes.
are already preparing, or is it already completed?
No, it's not completed. Definitely not. I
Your
would have loved
inspiration is
it.
already there, and
Yeah, I mean, the inspiration is there. You know, the thing is, like, of course, there's always a starting point
yes.
for the collections. For Larucci, because the thing is, the brand already existed. There was already a history. They started out with jewelry, so they already had, you know, the clients and a brand image. So what I did was adding the ready to wear, which was new to them. And
Hmm.
so I took the story behind all the hardware that they already had and a very bold, like expressive type of designs, and then try to translate that into clothing and
Hmm.
make it so that the two are complementary to each other.
Hmm.
Because what's interesting with Larucci is that, for example, we have a lot of people that are getting into the brand because Larucci's finally doing clothes,
Hmm.
or existing clients that were already into the jewelry and then now are buying the clothes. Or we have people, for example, that are into the clothes, but then the clothes sell the jewelry
Yes,
because it's kind of like shows it in a very different type of context. And
they
so
complement each other very well. I've seen it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, Thank you so much. That's what we try. That's kind of our main goal. And so yeah, I mean for Larucci, I think it's very interesting to work with this story, which is, was already existing and then kind of give my own interpretation to it. And I try to look a lot into like American culture for that. I love to explore that. And then especially since the CEO and I are such good friends of each other. And we always exchange about these type of things. Like the last collection that you've seen in the showroom was all around like manufacturing and factories, et cetera, because her family is from Detroit, and historically it's a city where there's like a lot of manufacturing. And then her family background, they have like a precision tool manufacturing factory where they reverse engineer parts and stuff like that. So it's very like technical and complicated, but
Yeah.
you saw that in like the hardware, the rivet detailing, the embroideries, the prints that we did with all like the factory machinery, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, in terms of inspiration, I try to always look into sources that are very close to me. And then from time to time, it's also, just a feeling. Sometimes you can't explain it. It can be the most basic, simple thing that happens to me on the street, or I see someone dressed in a certain way, or a sound, a music, or I see a movie and I'm like, oh wow, I need to do something around this type of theme. So voilà, that's kind of how it goes.
Okay. So you will be showing the Larucci during the women's, correct?
Yes, end of sorry,
No,
it's
March. Now it's
early
March.
March.
They push back 1 week. Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's later than usual
I
now.
know.
So we still have some time and it's good because we need
You
it.
earn another week.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And really 1 week, it's I mean, I don't want to be dramatic, but life and death, because honestly, in 1 week, so much can happen. You can literally, if you want to, build an entire new story into the collection
Really?
if you just do it efficiently.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, we that week is definitely very nice.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now I want to know about you.
Okay.
Tell me about your background. So you already talked about you. You're from Netherlands. You're originally from Turkey. You have Turkish blood. How did you get into fashion? Like,
Well,
what was the thing that you say, I want to do this?
the first thing that ever happened to me, which kind of made me realize that such thing existed even,
Hmm.
was when I was around 7 or 8 years old,
Okay.
and there was this documentary on TV. It was about Giorgio Armani, and it was basically like him. It was kind of like a day in the life of. He's like traveling and designing and organizing these runways and doing a store opening and fittings and whatnot. And I don't know what happened, but that moment it kind of clicked, something clicked. And I said, okay, that's what I want. I want to become a fashion designer. That's exactly the type of life that I would like to have. And then shortly after, I asked for fashion magazines. And
Mm.
then my dad started buying me Vogues. And then I
That.
started drawing, just
Okay.
drawing like garments and drawing over and over again. Like that was my uh that was kind of my happy thing to do. And yeah, I would just look at like the magazines and the runways and all these things and be fascinated and try to like redesign them and then try to give my own twist to it. That's kind of how it started.
You had a very supportive family.
Totally
Your
supportive.
dream,
Since
did
day
you?
one. Everyone knew and supported me and accepted it and said, okay, if that's what you want to do, then we'll make sure that it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, I
So,
was very lucky. Yeah.
so you studied fashion in the Netherlands or?
No, I studied in Paris actually.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
I did this preparatory course of visual arts and design at Artes in Arnhem.
Mhm.
Before I came, that was in the last year of my high school, so I was doing the two simultaneously.
Okay.
That's where I kind of explored more. But during all of my art classes in high school, my professors always knew that I wanted to be in fashion. So for them, it was always uh, um, I mean, naturally, I was always focusing my projects around fashion, which and that was okay for them.
Mhm.
And then yeah, and then I applied to a fashion university here. And then as soon as I was 18, I got my high school diploma. I moved here without wasting any minute.
You know what? You're gonna go get it if you know what you
Yeah,
want.
yeah, yeah. That was kind of the thought. Like it was more about counting the days. Because
Mm-mm.
I knew also from a very young age that it was going to be Paris. It was not going to be anywhere else. So
Okay.
yeah.
So why Paris? You just because there's other places, London, Milan, New York. What was the thing that it kind of get you in Paris?
Well, the designers that I looked up to
Uh,
and the overall feeling was just kind of triggering when I
okay.
would think about Paris. So then when I actually came here and at a very young age actually started looking into fashion schools already here.
Mhm.
And then I think I was 15 or 16. I visited the school actually where I studied.
Okay.
And so yeah, it just the story kept on building and building and building. Another place was never going to be an option. It was just always going to be Paris. Wherever the center was, that's where I wanted to be.
Okay. So you said that Giorgio Armani's, show or movie that kind of got you, it clicked with you. But who
Yes.
was the designer that you admire or you looked up to?
Well, the thing is, I'm so eclectic in terms of taste, in terms of what I can love in what other people do, and to be honest, like everyone that can go out and show a collection, I've so much respect for.
I
I
agree.
think that in so many people's work, I can see and find admiration. I mean, of course, I've my icon designers like I'm so much into John Galliano.
Ah,
I love Rick Owens, and I used to intern there. I did
you did,
so
okay.
many seasons during Fashion Week in the showroom and everything. And I that's was actually one of the first real experience that taught me so much. Was kind of like I was in school, but kind of felt like a master's class to me, learning how, what happens once you design the collection and you put it out there. And so, but yeah, there's so many more designers that I admire.
It's incredible, incredible. So now you are in Paris doing all these things.
Yes.
Then how do you describe your personal style?
My personal style, I think is very easy. I think it's non-trendy.
Mm,
And I think what's very important for me is that I have multiple of
mm,
something that I'm into, and I will literally kind of wear things in the same style for a very long period of time.
mm,
It's
mm.
not something that I pay too much attention to. As long as it's nice, comfortable, washable, and not
Washable
too
is very
heavy.
important.
Oh yeah, washable, of course. Because the thing is, when I'm obsessed with something, I like to wear it often.
Yes.
And so I have to be able to obviously, get it
Yeah, but
clean.
wash it, I
So
hope.
yeah, yeah. Or what I will do is if I find something that I absolutely adore, it's very possible that I might get two or three, and then I just,
Yeah.
that's just going to be my wardrobe option. So I
Mhm.
don't know. I maybe have like two or three looks, and those just circulate.
Mm, mm. I see, I see. So now, since you have all these, two brands and you're constantly doing these things, how do you balance your life? The famous work-life balance, How do you recharge yourself? Is there a specific place you go to? Things you do?
Hmm.
What do you do?
I mean, I love to travel.
For as a holiday, or is it more
Yeah.
like but you always create, how to say, capture the creativity wherever you go, what you see.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I love working. And I mean, working. I mean, let me say, I love having fun because
Like,
that's what I'm doing eventually.
okay.
You know, creating things in an atelier and being with the people that I work with and coming up with new things, choosing fabrics. I mean, to be honest, what can you not love
Mm.
about it? You know, it's so nice and every day is so different. And yeah, if I have my moments where I have to recharge, I'll sit somewhere and have a beer. I'll go to a nice restaurant and eat some very good food. And then, put my phone backwards for a little bit so I don't have to see my messages or something. Um, uh, what's very nice is sometimes to just put your phone on silent for half a day, on a Sunday or whatever. Uh, Even if I might be working, because I sometimes like to do that also over the weekend. Or other, I mean, travel. Travel always inspires me. Of course, whenever you discover something new, you go to a new place, there's always going to be something new you're going to discover.
That's true. That's true. So after the collection is done, okay, let's say the autumn, winter, fall winters collection is finishing in March, and you have a lot of work going on, but what will be your traveling plan for this year? What are you thinking of?
Japan.
Woo! But you go to
Yes.
Japan quite often for work, no?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And this time it will not only be pleasure, it will also be a little bit of work.
Hmm.
It will be like a pleasure, work, and then pleasure again.
It's a
Japan is
nice
a
sandwich.
place. Yeah, I mean, of course, like how Japan has it all. So, but I mean, if there's one place in the world that really recharges me and where I feel completely comfortable, nice, good, and where I just love everything, it's Japan. I'm so obsessed with that country.
Do
Yeah.
you consider yourself, maybe, do you see yourself later in time that to live in Japan?
I couldn't cheat on Paris.
Hey, it's only
No
beginning out
way.
now.
Oh, Paris would be so sad.
So you would go Japan to recharge, to I don't know, inspired by it, but Paris will be your home.
Paris is home. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I of course I love the Netherlands.
mm,
Netherlands is very deeply my heart, same as Turkey, of course. But this is really the place where I found home because this is the place where I'm able to really fully do what I love and be surrounded by it constantly. So there's no plan in the near future for now for me to be anywhere else.
okay. Oh wow. Okay, well that's good to hear. So now, if you have any advice for the young designers that who is, interested to get into designing things and eventually own, work on two brands, what are
Mhm.
the advice that you would give to them?
Be prepared.
Ah.
Yes, be prepared. Uh, get into the business aspect
Mm,
because it's really not that much about just design. You have to have an understanding of the different departments and different, you know, y- understand at least a little bit of the marketing, the sales, the press, so so you have an understanding, so you have a global overview. Because, I mean, I don't know if you want to be a designer and just design, or would you like to be a creative director and a company owner? These are not always the same things. And so know your things and also just don't stop.
mm,
Really. Keep going, keep pushing. Sometimes it's good to start small. And no matter what it is, it's important that you put yourself out there
that's true.
and keep making things. Just
Mm,
make things. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
true.
You'll see.
What you just said is not only for the young designer, but for whoever want to achieve anything, not just in fashion, but you just need to keep
Yes,
doing,
totally.
keep trying. And you had a really good point of having the global view you can't just for have this like, for narrow-minded. You need to understand your surroundings and how things works. So
Of
that's really good
course.
advice. You
I
kind of
mean, yeah.
I'm like,
I
that's a really good point.
I mean, I think it's important to be very realistic,
Yes.
and there's to fashion, there's so many more things. There's the manufacturing process, there's the fabrics, the trims, the this, the that. So it's such a complex type of how can I say list.
Mm.
I mean, you have to tick many, many boxes. It's a lot of different things have to come together in order for that one collection to work. And it's yes, it's tough and I don't know, maybe there's people that will say, "Oh, it's so easy to make a collection." I haven't met them yet, but so if you do find that person, let me know, please. But so until then, I personally feel, yeah, it is tough. It's a challenge, but that's why it's so important to enjoy each step of it. Because if you don't, then
It will crush.
then really it's just going to be a very unhealthy type of thing. But if you do enjoy all of it and the whole, the 360, then you're gonna have so much fun.
True, true, but I can see you have so much fun because
Oh yeah,
we know each other, so we talk,
yeah.
but every time I see you, I can feel the love and you are having fun. And
Oh,
it's
thank
a
you.
pleasure, buddy. That's why I wanted to do this interview with you.
Oh, thank you
And
so much. Yeah, I appreciate it.
this whole thing, it really give me more, how to say, more official understanding of you, if I may
Ah,
say so.
yeah, 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 yeah. Of course, of course.
So thank you so much, Jeff. It was
Thank
wow,
you
it
so
was
much.
very nice. Nice.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you. Mwah. Thank you, Jeff.
Uh,
Bye.
Take care. Talk
You
soon. Bye
too.
bye.
You too. Bye.